keeping you company this Ramadan.
It's exactly 4 minutes after 5 p.m. Central African time. Welcome back to the Iftar Drive. And of course, inshallah, it is now time for Palestine Ramadan Radio. And unless you're living under a rock, you may have understood and realized that tensions are growing in Al-Aqsa Masjid in Jerusalem, in Al-Quds. The Israeli Defense Force have been attacking worshippers at the masjid on a daily basis now for the last week or so. We have international countries around the world, Jordan, Sudan, and many others that are condemning the violence, that are calling for calm, that are reiterating the fact that they recognize Al-Quds as or East Jerusalem rather, as the capital city of a Palestinian state in a two-state solution, and so on. So this is what's been happening on the ground. On our Palestine Ramadan Radio, we welcome Mahfouz Raffee. He's a researcher and activist with Palestine Solidarity Alliance, and he joins me now via StreamYard in Johannesburg. Mahfouz, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Malana?
I'm very well, thank you. If I could see you, Mohammed, can you put Mahfouz back onto the... goodness, am I on the wrong link? Sorry, I'm on the wrong link. That's why. I'm still new to this. Apologies, Mahfouz. Mahfouz, the situation in Palestine with the attacks that are, becoming a daily occurrence at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, third holiest site in Islam, it seems like an annual thing. Why is it that we're having these tensions, particularly in the month of Ramadan?
It's very unfortunate, Malana. This happens year in and year out. It's blatant Islamophobia, in my opinion, from the Israeli occupying forces. They are aware that there's a Ramadan comes with the values of tranquility, of togetherness, of unity, and they don't want that for Palestinian people, because when they have that, then there's just, it spurs on resistance, or it spurs on a national identity. And the aim of the Israeli occupation is to ethnically cleanse Palestine. It's to strip them of any dignity, of any sense of self-worth, of any sense of togetherness. So Ramadan is very powerful in that sense, because Ramadan is a month where Palestinians can come together. But if the Israeli occupation, if the Israeli forces ramp up their aggression, as they do every year, if they invade Al-Aqsa and desecrate it, make it not a place of sanctity, make it not a place of safety, not a place of togetherness, then that hurts the resistance, it hurts the Palestinian spirit, it hurts Palestinian unity, and it directly impacts on the values that we cherish during Ramadan, and it directly impacts on people's sense of dignity and sense of livelihood that they can experience.
Mahfouz, what is the end goal here with the Israelis? I mean, I spoke to a journalist a few days ago, and she writes in Palestine that the Israelis want to take over the masjid. They want to take over Masjid al-Aqsa. They want to change the identity of that part of Jerusalem and make it a fully holy Jewish quarter of the city. Is that the end goal? Is that the plan? Is that the bigger scheme of things?
Yeah, most definitely. That's been the plan of the Zionist project since the establishment of Israel in 1948. We know David Ben-Gurion, he's specifically quoted about Palestinian villages, we must wipe them out. And that's happening in Al-Aqsa. You see there's far-right Jewish Zionist groups that want to come in and desecrate the masjid. They want to slaughter animals like openly in the courtyard.
Tell me about that. Tell me about the slaughter of animals. This is not the first time I'm hearing about that. What is the significance of the slaughter of animals in the compound of Masjid al-Aqsa by Jewish people or people of Jewish religion?
So it's apparently been practiced in ancient times, and of course the holiness and the sanctity, the chastity of a religious site in Islam, which Al-Aqsa is the third holiest site in Islam, that would not be allowed in such a place. It's a direct violation of the
sanctity.
holy values. Yes. So it's more than anything else. It's a provocation. It's an insult to Muslims in Palestine. And a direct threat that you are not safe here. That is an attempt to display the message that this site or anywhere in Palestine does not belong to you. So it's definitely regressive, far-right, racist act of aggression against Palestinian Muslims in particular.
Mahfouz, I've been talking throughout the month of Ramadan to various guests from the PSA and people from Palestine as well. And I was talking about the international impression or the international solidarity for Palestinian people and the international condemnation of Israeli aggression. Over the years, it seemed to be, gaining in popularity. But the Israelis have come up with what they call normalization, where they, I think, the United Arab Emirates, a few other countries, even Sudan, have signed these pacts of agreements to say that no, we're normalizing relationships with the state of Israel. So now, when I see this story from the Sudanese government condemning the violence at Masjid al-Aqsa, at the same time the Sudanese government signed, those Abrahamic Accords, normalization. Like, does it almost take away from their activism? What is the whole plan of the normalization? What is the whole aim of it?
It's very complex and indeed complex form of propaganda used by the Israeli regime to cement Zionism and to gain acceptance of Zionism. Because what it does is it clouds the reality that Palestinians experience day in and day out. It clouds the reality of occupation, of oppression, and of resistance. Because we know that this is a settler colonial state founded on the displacement of over 700,000 Palestinians, founded on extreme violence, and that violence continues unabated today. There's ethnic cleansing. So when countries normalize relations, when countries accept Israel as a trade partner, as a diplomatic partner, they cloud this whole Zionist project. They forget to see its settler colonial origins. They forget to see its violent treatment of Palestinians, its ethnic cleansing. And so what happens then when countries all over the world will condemn Israel, they condemn Israel in the same way they might condemn any other state for human rights violations, forgetting that Israel is illegitimate, forgetting that there is an ongoing and ever-present sense of resistance there. And that's what this normalization project does. It makes it blurs the narrative, makes it look as if things are the occupation is in reality a fight between two equal sides. You hear the terms clashes all the time. You hear the terms conflict, and that's all part of the normalization project. Even here in South Africa, students, we organized for Israeli Apartheid Week, and a precondition for Israeli Apartheid Week, when we organize as Palestinian Solidarity organizations to shed light on settler colonialism, on ethnic cleansing, on genocide, there is a precondition to normalize this and for the Zionists to be allowed during Israeli Apartheid Week to defend the Zionist narrative, which is absolutely absurd. We don't see that anywhere else with any other social issue. When we try to raise awareness, as we should, for fees to fall, you don't say that the university mandates that people who are in favor of privatized education, of commodified education, should have their place in those protests. You don't say when we protest against xenophobia and Afrophobia in South Africa, you don't see
Operation Tudula
should be there as well. That's completely absurd, and you can't frame anything like that. You can't say Operation Tudula has equal rights and an equal argument to portray compared to the anti-xenophobia protests, because there's a clear oppressor and there's a clear oppressed in that situation. Just as in Palestine, there's a clear oppressor, and Israel is an oppressive, illegitimate colonial state. And we need to center that and highlight that in our analysis, because that is what's factual and that is what's important for the resistance on the ground. Otherwise, Israel has the upper hand. Otherwise, Israel is normalized, is legitimized, and their violence will just continue being accepted.
Mahfouz, I really appreciate that answer. Very thoughtful, very detailed as well. Mahfouz, you were speaking about protesting and highlighting the atrocities on the ground and the fact that tomorrow, what's happening tomorrow? What's happening with the trying to get people to know more about this?
Yes, so yeah, we mentioned the desecration of Al-Aqsa, the attacks on Al-Aqsa, and we, as the international community, Muslims in particular, but people of all faiths need to protect historical heritage sites, need to respect the sanctity of religion, and that's why we're going to host a series of demonstrations across the country today. Inshallah, if you're listening to this and you're in Cape Town, get to Chromeboom Bridge now. From 5 to 6 p.m. until iftar time, inshallah, there will be a flag demonstration held on Chromeboom Bridge in Athlone. Tomorrow in Pretoria, please go through to Lenwood Glen Bridge. And at Lenwood Glen Bridge, similarly, hanging flags and posters and having demonstrations on for highway travelers to see. That will happen from 3 to 4 p.m. tomorrow, inshallah. And from 4:30 till 5:30 p.m. at Wits Bridge, please come through to Wits, as we will be holding a flag demonstration of that bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So raise support for the people of Palestine and to show support to Al-Aqsa against the horrible violence going on against them.
Absolutely. So, Mahfouz, the type of protest you're talking about is a very visual protest where people will be able to see these banners when they're driving on the highway. You'll be hanging the banners over the bridge so that guys that are driving by will be able to see the message.
Yes. Inshallah, please, if you're unable, if you're driving through, give a hoot of support. Yeah, please also have a look out for Palestine Solidarity Alliance's banking details. If you donate there with the reference Defend Jerusalem Fund, we are collecting funds to go directly into Jerusalem, into Al-Aqsa, with our trusted organizations there to support the defense of Al-Aqsa and to support medical supplies, humanitarian efforts for those who are resisting and for those who are affected by occupation in Jerusalem.
Absolutely. Mahfouz, Jazakallah khair for your time, and may Allah Ta'ala reward you for your work, and keep up the good work, and keep up the amount of bravery that you show on a daily basis. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to help with the awareness of Palestine, and we have you there, alhamdulillah, amongst other young people, and thank you so much for your effort. May Allah reward you.
Ameen. Jazakallah so much. Thank you.
Barakallahu fikum. Barakallahu fikum. Mahfouz Raffee is a researcher and activist at the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, talking to us there about tomorrow's activities. They'll be hosting these demonstrations. First one at the Chromeboom Bridge, that's in Cape Town today. It's currently happening right now. Tomorrow, the Linwood Glen Bridge, that's in Pretoria. And obviously, the Wits Bridge as well will be between 4:30 and 5:30. All these demonstrations will be then to raise awareness about the atrocities currently going on in Masjid al-Aqsa, and we have Jordan speaking out as well, and everybody around the world speaking out. But on a yearly basis, we see these activities taking place in the holiest of holy lands in Al-Quds, the third holiest site in Islam after Madinatul Munawwara and Makkatul Mukarramah, and the desecration, the intimidation, and the bullying continues against the Palestinian people. But of course, inshallah Aziz, the awareness campaigns and the protest action will be taking place around the world, and the PSA has already begun those protest actions in Cape Town, and will be doing so in Pretoria and Johannesburg in the coming days. Bringing our time to 80 minutes after 5 p.m. Coming up, inshallah, we'll be speaking with Maulana Yunus Kawanga on the Spiritual Hour. Stay tuned.